You see, all my life I'd been a perfume person. I've always loved perfumes. I've always been good with perfumes. Like if you wear a scent around me and I smell it once, anywhere in the world, if I smell it again, I can tell you exactly what you are wearing. Hi, my name is Adewale Aladejana. I'm the creative director and founder of Sapphire Group. Sapphire Group started as Sapphire Scents in 2015, and we started off by selling perfumes. Basically, I was looking for a way to sort of like supplement my income. I was in a very bad place. I was working at this organization where I was transferred from Benin to Abuja, and it was a very rough one. I wasn't given any transportation or accommodation. My wife was 7 months pregnant, and I began to think of other ways to make money. As God would have it, I was able to squat with my brother for a while. So it was during that period that I began to think of what I could do for money. Then I had a friend that was coming in from Dubai, and she brought in a bottle of perfume, and she gifted me that bottle of perfume. And as I used it, it was different, and I thought to myself, maybe I can start selling perfumes. I began to think of where I could get those kind of perfumes. They were oud perfumes, from the Middle East. And I said, let me go and check Wuse Market in Abuja. So I faced Wuse Market. I began to search around for shops. Eventually, I found this store where they had, a couple of perfumes. I mean, the place was, you had all sorts of things there. So the regular person, you enter that place, you can't come out of that place with anything. But because I had a gift, I could tell that, okay, this is good, this can sell. I was able to get like 4 bottles together, worth around 30,000 naira. So I go back home, I began to do my research on oud perfumes. I understand that oud was special. But the challenge with that was that Nigerians don't really enjoy oud in itself, because to the untrained nose, they're like, what kind of smell is this? It's not something really appealing, considering the kind of fragrances that the Europeans use, the Middle Easterns use, and what will be suitable for Nigerians. And I realized that, first of all, Nigerians and Africans, we love long-lasting fragrances. We like to explore a little bit, but at the same time, you don't want it too far gone, So what I did was to merge the very mysterious, the very mystical oud with the oriental, well-known, very relatable French fragrances. So I made a blend of this and then increased the percentage and created the perfume for Africa and the Nigerian market. The first oud perfume I ever smelled was a blend of oud and roses. It was all the inspiration that got me to get into perfumes really and start selling perfumes. And I was just hooked. And since that time, I've always wanted to create the same thing. So I went about getting my own blend of oud and roses, and it's what I call Ruby today. As God will have it, I had one of my clients, and he was going for a very important meeting. He was going to the State House for a meeting. I said, Wale, I don't want any of the random perfumes. I need you to make something really special for me, so that when I get there, people will know that, yes, I came. So I made something for him. And he went to the State House. And then he walked past the First Lady of Nigeria. And she called him back and said, what perfume is that? And he came to tell me. And that was all the confidence I needed to start my own line of fragrances. I remember presenting to the Oni of Ife. And that was that moment when I began to realize that, okay, there could be something in this. So the bespoke gave me the confidence to start making the everyday fragrances, because I knew that I tapped into something here. They were irresistible. People could not forget them. People were talking about it. So that's when I realized that, okay, I can do both. And so we still have the bespoke and we still have the other one. Right now we have like 20 different perfumes, really special. I love all of them. I'm definitely going to make more. Yeah, oud was always a business for us. Now business is like the foundation. That's what we call it, the business for any fragrance that we made. Oud was always the business for that. And then we now played with other stuff. So we used to have a blend of oud, frankincense, and myrrh, and then we now blend it with maybe vanilla, maybe strawberry, maybe chocolate, other secondary fragrances. But we always made sure that the foundation was extremely strong. One of the good things about oud is that it's very, very universal. It's very unisex. It will smell good on men and women, especially if you know how to play around it. So we looked at that and we're like, you know what, this is how we're going to approach it. Most big businesses that you see today, they actually started from their garage or from some funny place. I started from my apartment. I converted one of the rooms to an office. So I would wake up from my bed in the morning, dress in suit, and resume to the next room. That was my office. And every single day, on social media, I would sell a bottle. And when I sell to you, I'll put up your picture and say, oh, this person just bought a bottle of perfume. Be like this guy. And every single day I'll sell a bottle. In 3 months of doing that, I turned over ₦1 million. 8 months later, I was able to resign my job. I gave them 1 month salary back and I focused on Sapphire Sense. My mentor looked at me and said, Wale, I like what you're doing. Take ₦1 million, go to Dubai and see how you can expand this business. So that's how I moved from going to Wuse Market to getting perfumes in Dubai. And there's one interesting story I'll never forget. I remember getting to Dera Market in Dubai, and I walked into a store, and what I used to do was I would just enter different stores, sniff some of the perfumes. One of my gifts was I could actually tell a perfume that could sell and the one that would not sell. So I would go, pick perfumes, smell and know which ones to pick. And then I entered this particular store, and as I sniffed the perfume, I knew that I had found it. It was like discovering gold, like hitting gold. I just hugged the guy. He was Pakistani. I just hugged him. I said, my guy, we don't hammer. The guy was like, what you say? He couldn't understand, but I knew that, I had hit something really special. Sapphire actually came from the Bible. Sapphire came from Isaiah 54:11, where the Bible was saying that I will lay your foundation with sapphires. And it's a very interesting story. It was talking about somebody that's been tossed around with tempest, has not been comforted. But God is saying that I'm going to lay your foundation with your stones with fair colors, and I'll lay your foundation with sapphires. Sapphires are actually precious stones, very, very strong precious stones. We came up with a model. It was actually an offshoot of a network marketing business that I was being introduced to. And it dawned on me there were lots of people like me that needed to make extra money on their income. They had a job, but they were not making enough. They needed to make extra income. So I started registering them as distributors. So basically a distributor, say for instance, I get perfumes at 10,000 and I sell for 16,000. When you become a distributor, I give you the advantage of getting those same rates, but you must pay me 50,000 naira first before you can get the advantage of buying at 10 to sell for 16. So that's how we started the Sapphire distributorship chain. And as God will have it, people were selling out fast. They were selling out fast. 2 days they are sold out, 3 days they are sold out. And I began to advertise that a lot. And any other business can do the same. Right now we have over 2,000 people distributing our products everywhere, in so many countries of the world. So it's a really viable strategy, very cost effective, and all of that is happening online, right? Everybody, you reach out to us. Most of our distributors, 90% of them came from the social media, from Facebook, from Instagram. They just send us a message and say, okay, I want to find out about this business. We send them what they need to know. They send money to their account. We send them products. We send them all the training materials. If they have any questions, they can reach us, and they begin to sell, and everybody's making money. So any business can also adopt the model. It's really seamless, and you may not need all of the overhead for opening stores and all of that, and it's low capital, right? You don't need to get so much overhead. All you need is a good phone sometimes, and being able to respond to people when they reach out to you. So focus online and start with what you have where you are. We are not going online totally. For instance, this place is still available. This is the factory, this is the head office. People can still come in here and get the fragrances. And then we are stocking in major department stores like famous and trendy H Medics. I mean, that's a very bigger market. We're extending that to Lagos, even across Nigeria and across the world. We're doing that. So we're not living online completely. We are not living offline completely. And online too as well, because one of the things I do, I write this article called, this blog called Perfumer Tales. So I write you the story of all the fragrances, the story behind it, how this fragrance came to be and the notes in them. So you have an idea. Before you meet the scent, you already have a background information. You have it, and you look at the one that suits you the most. So for people that haven't smelled the fragrance, from the story you can get an idea of what it's like. So for our online, and then people, reviews and people that have reviewed. For instance, if you go to fragrantica.com, you will see some of our perfumes there. You see what the notes are like, and so people sort of like have an idea, but we are not going offline completely. If you walk into the major department stores in Nigeria, Abuja right now, you see Sapphire scents there, and their products are fly off the shelf. They are not struggling to sell. People are not looking at them and like, oh, what is this? They are not struggling to sell at all. So it's that way that you have markets, you have street credibility. People know your product, they appreciate it, they recognize it, and I mean, in just a matter of time, definitely in the next 5 years, Sapphire is just going to be off the hook. Now, one of the major challenges in the perfume market, which is why many perfumes are expensive, is that they go for natural flavors. Now, what people don't know is this: natural flavors cannot be sustained. So, for instance, you get rose. So you get you want to create a fragrance that's made from rose, and you get the roses from the south of France. Now, next year, it happens that quality of rose is not available, was not produced to a number that you can sell. What that means is that for that year, you may never have that perfume. It happened to lots of very powerful, very famous fragrances. They just couldn't sustain it because we were using natural fragrances. Meanwhile, if you start using synthetic fragrances, what happens is that you can maintain the color, you can maintain the clarity, and you can maintain the scent power. You can maintain the sillage of that, and that's what we started doing. And they are, of course, way cheaper than the natural flavors. So that's what we started working with, and it helped us to be able to drop our prices and sell at the prices that people can afford. And the strategy I work with in terms of the whole business is something I call the affordable luxury strategy, which simply means products for Africans, by Africans at the price that Africans can afford. Now, if you look at the world, especially when it comes to fashion, you hear of the US size, you hear of the UK size, but you never hear of the African size. You've never been to any store where they're asking you your African size. You have never heard it before. That's because we don't actually exist. We don't have a fashion identity. We are talking of over 2 billion people that don't have a fashion identity. We are just expected to cope with what the Chinese, the European, and the Americans, give to us. Perfume is usually oil and ethanol, basically. So that percentage, there's usually a debate. The Europeans and Americans feel it should be 10 to 20%. The Middle East feel like it should be higher. Africa, they don't even know what it's all about. 10% oil, 90% ethanol in this part of the world will evaporate under 1 hour. You get. Meanwhile, if you use that same thing in the US or in the UK, you smell good for the rest of the day. So these are things that should be put into consideration. I feel like many of these international brands don't understand the African market when it comes to perfumes, and it's one of the things that we do. Life is all about doing your best and looking for people that can bring you better. Business is all about collaborations. There are businesses, so I'm open for international collaborations, big time. I can't wait. I feel like if we just take what we know and just magnify it and amplify it in a level that they've never done before, and people will begin to understand the African market of scents. I feel like it's a win-win.